Hello, everybody. This is Mike Xenick, President and CEO of InvestAmerica, coming to you today for a short video to talk about some of the recent things that happened in the EB5 industry as of December 3rd, 2021. InvestAmerica is an immigration and consulting company and broker-dealer firm. We represent regional centers. We represent other project sponsors for EB5 projects, as well as E2 consulting and other immigration consulting for investors and others that are looking to come to the United States for a better life for themselves and their families. We protect, guide, and support them as they do that, and do that in compliance with securities laws and making sure that everything that we have available for them to invest in has been properly vetted and analyzed to make the journey as safe as possible for those investors. Wanted to spend a few minutes now and talk about some of the things that are occurring in the EB5 industry. As you may have heard, the regional center program, the broader program of EB5, sunsetted on June 30th, 2021. It had a couple of different opportunities to be reinstated at the end of September, which it got extended again this past Friday, December 3rd, and it also got extended. So we're going to talk about some of the things that really affect those that are involved in the industry. We're going to talk about 3 or 4 different topics. What happened and why? What does it mean for investors that are currently invested in projects, and also people that are looking to invest in EB5? What can you do now, right now, while the regional center program is not available? And lastly, what's the likelihood and timing of the regional center program coming back? So let's start with the first one. What happened and why? Well, what happened was the regional center program is still considered a pilot program, meaning that it needs to be reauthorized periodically to remain effective. And that means that actually the last time it was reauthorized for any meaningful period of time was that expired on September 30th, 2015. So we've been dealing with this issue for over 6 years now, with multiple extensions, dozens of extensions actually, that have been anywhere from a few days to a few months, coming up more and more deadlines of when things were going to occur or not occur. So we finally hit a point in June 30th of this year where it sunsetted, it expired, there were no extensions, and it's been off the market now for the better part of the last 5 months. And the reason why it happened is the regional center program needs to be reauthorized by Congress. And because it is still a very small piece of the federal government, it doesn't stand alone in its importance or its ability for Congress to reauthorize it. There's not enough effect that it has on the U.S. economy and other aspects of the U.S. to warrant its own legislation. That was actually tried right before June 30th, and it failed. So the program needs to get, or legislation to reauthorize the program needs to be put on some other bill that has a lot of power and importance in Congress in order for it to pass alongside those other options. So that has, right now, the strategy is to put it on the government spending bill, which it has been attached to in the past. So that is it's a viable option, and we'll talk a little bit later about what needs to happen for that to actually occur. Right now, the status of the program is that because the continuing resolution for U.S. spending bill has been extended until February 18th of 2022, that is the earliest possible time that the regional center program will be reauthorized. We'll talk about what that means and also what other options might be available and timing a little bit later. So what does it mean? It means that for current investors that that are already in regional center projects and investments, that you are on hold. Unfortunately, wherever you are in the process, if you've not received your conditional green card already, you are on hold. That means even if you've had your I-526 approved, you're waiting for your interview. You probably know if you had an interview scheduled, it was canceled, and now you're waiting for the reauthorization to occur. We'll talk about a couple of things related to that specific issue in a minute. The other area that it affects are current investors, people that are interested in investing in an EB5 offering. There are no regional center projects or offerings available right now while the regional center program is down. So next, we know what can you do now? If you can't invest in a regional center offering, that's not available. Is there an EB5 investment option available? And the answer is absolutely, through the Direct EB5 program. The Direct EB5 program was the original program that was passed in 1990, and the regional center, the Direct program was the original program passed in 1990. The regional center program came about a couple of years later. So the Direct program has always been permanent. It does not require reauthorization. It never expires. It continues to go. It's continued to go from 1990 until the present day, and will continue for the foreseeable future. While it's a very small percentage of the investments, the EB5 investments that have been utilized since 1990, it is a viable program. So how does it compare to the regional center program? Well, the major difference is the regional center program allows for indirect and induced jobs, whereas the Direct program relies on actual full-time W-2 employees, people that are working in the business that is invested in every single day. Same requirement, 10 jobs per investor as the regional center program, but you have to prove and demonstrate that those jobs have been created by using payroll records and other things. Sounds kind of hard to do, but actually it's fairly easy depending on the business. So right now, there are direct pooled and other direct EB5 investment offerings that many people have out there for investment. We at InvestAmerica have two of those right now. One is called the Flying Biscuit. It's a restaurant based in Atlanta. It's a franchise, been around for 28 years. They have pushing 30 locations around the country, mainly in the Southeast, through Georgia, Texas, Florida, Alabama, the Carolinas, and it continues to expand and expand rapidly. It's a very successful franchise. They made it through COVID very, very well. For our first offering is 6 new locations in Houston, Texas, which we have sold out of, but we have another Flying Biscuit offering coming about probably in early January, maybe the end of December, that will be focused on 6 new locations, most likely in Dallas, Texas, or another city in Texas, and that will be available very soon. The other one they have currently is called the Drunken Dragon, which is a standalone restaurant based in Miami. It will be the second location of the Drunken Dragon series and it's owned and operated by a very successful restaurateur who owns and operates multiple restaurants in Miami area and other major cities in the United States. That one is it's a $3.5 million investment, so 7 investors looking to get into this Drunken Dragon. Both of these offerings have between 2 to 3% per year annual preferred return. The investors are protected in the sense that their I-526s are denied. They will be refunded their capital. And also they're going to be the first money out. So in the case of sale of the business, a distribution of any kind, the EB5 investors must be paid out before anybody else that's in both of those investments. Both of those investments, the Drunken Dragon investment is the one available right now. We also may have 2 or 3 others coming to market shortly in other industries besides restaurants. And the way you can contact us is you can either go to EB5USA at InvestAmeriCap.com. That's InvestAmerica with a P at the end.com. EB5USA at InvestAmeriCap.com. You can WhatsApp me at Country code 1 for United States, 813-340-8737. Or you can go on our website, InvestAmeriCap.com, and click on one of the options to set up a consultation call with us. Information about both of those projects is on our website, as well as all the other services that we provide. So lastly, what's the likelihood and timing of the Regional Center program being reauthorized? The likelihood depends on who you ask. If you ask the majority of the stakeholders in EB5, they think it's likely. The timing, though, is unsure. Even though I mentioned earlier that February 18th is the next available date, because of the mechanisms that Congress can use to reauthorize the EB5 program, the legislation that's specific to EB5 that has been proposed to Congress has not been reviewed by Congress at all yet. And that is a little bit of a challenging issue, because in order for it to be attached to the spending bill on February 18th, assuming that that's the date, which again, that could also be extended again by Congress, the legislation has to be approved by Congress. There's been very little review of that language that was proposed, and the goal of the trade associations in particular and the stakeholders in EB5 is from now until early February to contact their senators and congressmen to push that legislation, get Congress, particularly the Senate, to focus on it so that it can be included in a bill. Save for that, if it's not included in the bill and the government bill passes and there's no further extension, the only other option it has, most likely in 2022, is through the appropriations process, which will allow different departments of the government, U.S. government, to allocate funds and to certain programs, and that would occur in March of 2022. So right now we're looking at a February 18th and or March 2022 date. If it doesn't pass then most likely the Regional Center program will continue to not be in existence for the remainder of 2022. We all hope that doesn't happen. We represent Regional Center projects as well, and we want the clients that we had before everything is sunsetted in June to come back on board, so we have a full portfolio of options, direct and Regional Center. But we feel very confident in the Regional Center, in the direct offering, because not only will it allow you to invest in EB5 right now, but there's also a very limited opportunity to invest at $500,000. As some of you may know, before that, up until mid to late June of this year, the price was $900,000, which increased back in November 2019. There was a lawsuit that was filed, without getting into the details, that effectively reduced the investment amount to $500,000, which is now USCIS has accepted that temporary price reduction on their website, and we've had multiple investors file their I-526s through our direct pooled projects at $500,000, and there's been dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of other investors that have invested through other means and other projects that are sponsored by other people. So it's a really good time right now, between now and February 18th, if you want to invest in an EB5 project that will get you the same exact immigration benefit in a project, at least on our projects that are structured to protect investors and to achieve your immigration goals. Now is the time to do it. And even though February 18th seems like a little, long way away, or at least, somewhat time away, the time to start the process is now. So you can hire your immigration attorney, you can get your source of funds documented, which is the thing that takes the most amount of time, and also make sure that you get in and file before that occurs. Because after February 18th, we don't know what the price is going to be. It could be $700,000, $750,000, it could go back to $900,000. We don't know what that is. So right now, there's certain $500,000, and it will get you again the same immigration benefit. So The last thing I'll mention is this is for current and existing investors. I mentioned that right now, you can't get your I-526 reviewed. You can't have your interview, even if you've had your I-526 review, to get your conditional green card. So what's going to happen to you? Let's say something doesn't happen in February or March. What's going to happen to you? Basically, what's going to happen is, or what's happening right now, at least with the effort that's been going on through an organization called the American Investor Immigration Association, led by and formed by former EB5 investors, is a grandfathering clause. So if no other regional center, no other EB5 legislation passes, they're trying to push a separate bill that would at least allow for all the people that are waiting in line right now to be grandfathered. And we're talking about, depending on who you ask, 20 to 40,000 people that are in that line. So I would encourage you, if you're watching this and you're an existing investor waiting for your time, to contact the project that you invested in, find out what you can do to help push that grandfathering legislation. If you're already in the United States and you live in a specific state, find out who your local U.S. congressman is in your district. Find out who your senator is in the state that you live in, and find a way to contact them. They all have websites. They all have ways to contact them. You can also, for some guidance there, you can go on iausa.org. They are the trade association for the EB5 industry, and they can also give you guidance on how to do that. So, and if you need help, you have questions, please feel free to call and ask us. We are available. So with that, I'm going to leave you today. And again, if you have questions, please contact us, eb5usa@investamericap.com. My WhatsApp number, country code 1-813-340-8737, or go on our website, investamericap.com, to ask us questions. If you're interested in investing right now in EB5 Direct, we have some great projects for you. We'd love to talk to you and find out what your immigration journey is for your family. We can help you through the entire process. And because we're a broker-dealer, not only will we be there when you invest, but we're required by law, by securities law, to be there until the time you exit your investment 5 to 7 years later. So we'll always be there for you throughout the course of your investment. And with that, again, my name is Mike Xenick with InvestAmerica, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.